Hello! Okay. Hello, we're streaming now, and welcome to episode 5 of The Alternative Review, your new favourite source for news and stuff that isn't news. I am your host, / cultural pundit, / genius, / all-around bad boy, Adam John Butterworth. And with me today, I have a cultural commentator, far-right feminist, and religious fundamentalist, author of Bewley on Israel, How Israel illegally occupied my heart, Jake Bewley.
Oh, yes.
And also with me, I have a world-renowned advocate for squat toilets, cultural commentator, artist, and author of 2 books, including Cowards Don't Draw and I Draw, Therefore I Am Better Than You. It's Ollie Ballone.
Oh my gosh, this took some rehearsing, like.
I enjoyed that.
That was class.
Anyway, we've not been around for a while, so there's a lot of news, gang. Okay,
Right.
well let's slide right in. Okay, first thing we're going to slide comfortably in. Have you guys heard about? This was a while ago, it seems like now, but have you guys heard about Trump? Have you guys heard about Trump?
Yes.
He's the president, don't you know?
Right.
No. So Trump has put a full ban on transgender people serving in the U.S. military.
Okay.
What do we think?
That's interesting.
What were his reasons for this?
Aha. So what he said, and was that it cost too much to pay for their surgeries and stuff on U.S. money. Okay, on taxpayer money. I mean, that was his reasoning.
That's good reasoning by itself. I can understand that. It's a choice.
What do you think, Jake?
I mean, sorry for the bit of an extended pause there. Like, what's the are women are allowed to serve in the military, aren't they?
Yeah.
Men are obviously allowed to serve in the military.
Yeah.
The like sex changes and stuff and like hormone therapy or whatever doesn't have to be state funded though, does it?
It is if you serve in the military, because it's considered a psychological issue.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like paying for post-traumatic stress therapy and stuff.
Okay.
I think
Hey,
having someone
wake up.
operating heavy weaponry that is sort of taking hormone changing drugs and things like that could be an issue. I would go back to the suicide rate amongst transgender people as well. The suicide rate in the military, that can't be a good combination.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Well, that was kind of my thought. I was like, my first thing was, I don't understand why this is that much
it's
of
relevant.
an issue. Yeah. Like, my first thought was, I don't understand why. If you consider how much money the US actually spends on the military, and it is a lot, and I think it should be a lot, considering they are basically the peacekeepers of the world. But I was a bit like, but it's not that much money. They estimate it's about 30 million, right? And again, that's not that much money, but like, I can still
That's not
understand.
a lot at all.
Yeah, but I can still understand.
Hang on, that's their defense budget or what?
No.
was
That's
gonna say.
how much money exclusively is going on gender reassignment surgery.
I thought you meant the military. I was like, that's like nothing.
Yeah. But, well, the thing that then I read an article by this guy who used to be a soldier, and it really, really changed the way I viewed it. Basically, what he wrote was that he was in Afghanistan. He said every single day he did the exact same drills. He did the exact same picking up the exact same food parcels, and it was the exact same food. And he did the exact same tank drills. He did the exact same things every day. And he said he saw people who were completely mentally fit and able crack over the tiniest things. And he said that having people who are emotionally unstable in that position puts you in a liability. And the last thing he said that really made me open my eyes is when he said, now take that's the heat, all of those things. He said he saw men in the military who got a Dear John letter, which is obviously when a woman writes to a military man saying, sorry, I've met somebody else. He said he would see people get one letter like that and then become completely combat ineffective. So take somebody who's completely emotionally unstable and put them in that sort of environment. You know what I mean? It's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about in America. I'd imagine they don't, but I think there's still. I mean, I think they only just started allowing women into special forces, sort of parts of the military in this country. I don't think they do in America, and it's for that reason because women are less emotionally stable than men on a scientific basis. Is one of the reasons.
Oh.
On a scientific basis, it's like it's demonstrable. We know that women have sort of more fluctuation in the hormones that are in their body, and it causes less emotional stability.
Give me a
Isn't
second.
sounding
here.
like the far right feminist that you portrayed him to be in the intro. Like.
Well, you were the far right feminist.
Oh, was
but
I?
Don't
Oh,
forget.
excuse me.
How could you not know?
Yeah,
What,
Sorry.
no, what I was thinking
had a
of
bit
was.
of an existential crisis for a couple of seconds.
Oh, wait, are you trying to tell me, right, that women are not biologically the same as men?
I'm afraid so, my friend.
You know what? This is white supremacist. I don't want anything to do with this.
You know what? I think I'm quitting this podcast. I'm sick of this bigotry. I'm out here.
Yeah, can you imagine? Anyway, yeah, I get where you're coming from. Do we have any other thoughts? Because, like I say, there's a lot to get to.
Well, yeah, to reinforce what Ollie was saying there, like another reason that I heard mentioned for why they don't allow women into like spec ops kind of situations is that a man is more likely to risk a lot more for
Yeah.
the life of a woman rather than the life of another man.
Yeah, that's exactly true. I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
I agree. I think Trump might have made a good move here. Obviously, all I've heard from it is what we've been talking about just now, but with that reasoning, it seems pretty solid to me.
Yeah, I mean, the way the argument's framed, I mean, the opposite argument is framed is that it's a civil rights issue that you can't tell somebody that they shouldn't serve because of who they are. But I disagree with that because
If I apply for a job and they say, you know, if I apply for a job as a mathematician at Oxford University and they say, well, you're not good at maths, I'm sorry. I can't turn around and be like, well, you're just discriminating against who I am. That's who I am is bad at maths. It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. You know, it's who you are that makes you either apt for the job or inept for the job.
yeah.
That, you know, that is who you are, I'm afraid, and it's something that does play a factor in whether or not you should be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
The real world.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough though at the same time. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, people don't want to live in reality, do they? Because reality is not such a great place. But as well, I mean, it's exactly the same, isn't it? As imagine if I have 0 legs and like a duck beak instead of a mouth, and then I'm like, I want to serve as a infantryman in the army. They're gonna say no, which is fair enough.
I mean, is it oppressive that they don't let paraplegic people serve in the armed forces?
Yeah.
Is there any objections to that? No, because it would be absolutely ridiculous.
But do you guys remember there was an argument to make military, what's it called, where like they it's not training, but it's like you have to do a physical test to go into the army. What's it called? Do you guys remember what it's called?
No.
It's like an
But anyway,
entrance exam.
No, it's like but anyway, there was a call to make that easier because apparently it's too tough and women are physically less able, therefore they should make it easier for women to enter the
It's
army.
stupid.
Yeah.
The enemy don't take it easy on women.
Yeah, it's about 96% of women who entered don't pass.
We would end up losing all of our wars if we did that.
Like good. Like if they can't meet the standard of the army, it doesn't matter what the gender is. Like
don't change the
90% of women
standard.
don't get in. Fine. I'm just not bothered.
Yeah.
Like, are we sizist as well? Because all the fat people don't get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just, you know, on the one hand you can kind of understand why they would be frustrated, but on the other hand, I don't know, doesn't it seem like another excuse to have a go at Trump though? As if he needed one at this point.
I mean, he must have known people would backlash against that. He must have known that's not going to be a particularly popular decision, right?
Yeah.
In today's sort of climate.
Yeah. I don't think he cares, to be honest.
No, I don't think he does either. And I was just thinking about it. That $30 million, it doesn't seem like much in the context of the defense budget.
Yeah.
But in the context of it's taxpayers' money, people like you and me are paying for that.
That is actually going to lead us really smoothly on to another point, which is, well, one, Gavin McKine said it best when he says, even if it doesn't count at that much, like the guy across the street doesn't want to spend $10 on a man's fake boobs. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because he's in the army.
Yeah. I want to know
Even
your
a
guys.
pence.
Even a pence. Yeah. I want to know your guys' opinions on this, right? So have you guys heard of something called let me read this right.
NASA.
NASA?
Yeah, dude.
Basically, NASA have hired somebody called a planetary protection agent. Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to be paying him $180,000 a year to protect us from aliens.
Oh. That's
What do
a
you
bit
guys
silly.
think?
I've read a thing about this. Yeah,
Yes. What do you think?
I think they're still taking a few applicants, aren't they? It's not just one guy, is it?
No. It's one position, but they're in the process of hiring. I should
Yeah.
clarify. Yeah.
I don't see anyone like hiring someone on to protect against dinosaurs coming back to life. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got no evidence that it's going to happen, why bother paying someone nearly 200 grand?
Maybe they
to
do have
prevent-
evidence it's going to happen.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, what I would say about that is, I just don't care. To be honest, if they want to do that, if they think that that's a good way of spending your 180 grand a year, then fair enough. Like,
But
kind of interesting. I'll take a job if they're offering one.
Yeah, I'll do that job.
but
I want to be a space defender.
Planetary. What was it called again, Adam?
a planetary protection agent.
That's. Oh, I would take
But-
that title. Like,
I want to know what previous experience he put on his CV to make him desirable for that. Because I mean, I think he's going in blind no matter what.
Guardian of the
I've-
Galaxy for 10 years.
Yeah.
I played a lot of XCOM,
Yeah,
but
I'm
here's,
into Space Invaders.
yeah, here's the thing that you guys are missing. I think maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. NASA, sorry, or is it NASA?
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
that's it.
But NASA is a taxpayer-funded company, right? And that's
Right.
the bit that upsets me.
That's
is
what I
the
was
fact
going to
that
ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fact that people are working hard, and then that is basically, I think, a made-up position that isn't going to help anyone ever in the history of
Yeah.
humanity.
Yeah, it turns out the guy that got hired for it, his dad is the
yeah.
guy at
He's
NASA.
the director of NASA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You actually put it into a sentence there, you mug. What are you doing? Stop calling it the saw.
Sorry, I can't resist. And it's stuff like anyway. Yeah. But that's what I wanted to ask you guys, okay, based on that. I recently read a poll and it really shocked me a little bit, but also made me a bit happy. Do you guys think NASA is a waste of money or not?
I think there's a lot of it that is a waste of money. There's obviously some things that are canny mint, but like, I'll tell you what I just don't understand, right? This guy, what does his day-to-day schedule look like? Surely it's just sit on your jacksie and wait for an alien, a UFO to show up. You know what I mean?
Well, he's got to come up with plans and stuff, hasn't he? To prepare himself.
That's
I
going to
guess.
take up so much budgets if he's actually putting like,
Big rockets and stuff.
yeah, like putting stuff in place to fight off aliens if they decide to attack. Can you imagine how much money that would cost?
But admit it, you would want that job.
Oh, take
Oh,
it, like,
proper.
without
proper.
a doubt.
I feel like there needs to something like that. Like there needs to be a democratic process for deciding where taxpayers' money goes.
Yeah, man.
like one that filters down into the actual taxpayer. Like maybe if you said to the taxpayer, this is the percentage of what you're earning that you've got to pay to us. Here's these different things that we want taxpayers' money to go into.
Yeah,
Choose 4 of them.
a bit like a church budget in a way.
Yeah, something like that.
This is one of the main criticisms that I've got with the way that we run our politics these days, is that like the campaign is like, no matter which way you
Tiny
slice
amount
it,
of the process.
they're like, but that's so vague. Like everything
Yeah.
that's mentioned in everyone's campaign is vague. There's never
Yeah.
any specific details for how much funding's going where.
Did anyone
Yeah.
vote Trump in because they wanted there to be someone that was employed to defend planet Earth from aliens?
I don't think so.
Although,
Like,
I
Did
could
Trump
bel-
mention that in his campaign?
No. I could believe though that Trump watched, I don't know, like he watched Independence Day and was like, do you know what, we got to get a guy on there.
They're onto something.
yeah,
I want Jeff Goldblum here right now.
that's funny you mentioned that. I just watched Jeff Goldblum on Top Gear.
Oh really? That's
Yeah.
quite funny.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious.
Right. But you guys, yes or no? Is NASA a waste of money? What are you
No.
thinking? No.
No. If you look at the list of technology that we use that was actually invented by NASA because they developed it for one of their projects, it's a pretty laundry list from what I remember.
Yeah.
Things
That
like
guy
the
can get
plastics
sacked,
used in dental retainers, for example,
Yeah.
were invented by NASA. I think chewing gum was indirectly invented by NASA.
Hang on.
Oh.
I thought chewing gum was invented by the Israelites in order to drive the Arab sex drive through the roof.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And, technology in Nike Air trainers as well, something like that.
There's a few
I've
things
got
that
a-
are just a waste of money, though. Like that guy could get the sack. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
properly.
for
Like,
sure. But I've got a quick list of some NASA inventions. Would you like to hear some?
yeah.
Memory foam.
Yeah.
See, I use that every night, me, mate.
I know you do. I've slept on your mattress.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
it was okay. This sounds weird now. I'm gonna move along.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I've never.
I've just
not heard-
realised to someone that doesn't know us, that's it's very strange.
They invented scratch-resistant eyeglass lenses. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, lads. I have no idea what half of these things are. Oh, they've invented water filters. Now, come on, that's pretty good.
Well,
To
the
be
Yeah.
fair.
first water filter was invented by NASA.
No.
Apparently,
No. The first water filter was made of sand and pebbles.
Yeah.
And that is probably one of the most effective types of water filter. They still use them, like.
there is one thing that is a massive thing. They invented the insulin pump, which is a very good thing.
Yeah.
All right, originally, I was very much on the NASA isn't worth the money. We should get rid of it, and then we should dance on its grave. But
Right.
now I'm a bit like, all right, fair enough. They do some stuff. But guess
do
what
some stuff.
percentage? Guess what percentage of Americans thought they were a waste of money when asked
2.
in this poll?
Larger event.
70%.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Open
Was I
my
right?
eyes. What did you say?
I said 70%.
Yeah, 70% was dead on, yeah. 30% said they weren't a waste of money. But anyway,
I'm with the 30%, personally.
money
Yeah.
takes us on to our next. This one's a bit of a shock, right? For those listening who don't know, we are Christians, okay?
Yeah. Haven't
Here's
figured it
the
out.
thing. This one is a bit of a shock. So they've recently done a survey of quite a few. I'll have to find the actual sample size, but they've done a survey that found that 1 in 10 in America, 1 in 10 Protestant churches have had embezzlement problems. 1
Wow.
in 10. That's a lot.
That's mental.
They asked pastors whether they know anybody who has embezzled, whether they've heard of people who have embezzled. No, sorry, it's in their church, whether they know people who have embezzled, whether they have embezzled, or whether previous pastors have embezzled. 1/10 of them said yes.
As
That's a
in
lot.
all as in all the people are like people who've embezzled from like a position in the church.
Yeah, people who have been in charge of money in the church.
What, and they've
Have
just
embezzled
taken
from-
money for themselves, like snuck it out.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me.
Really?
And they were...
No.
Really? That doesn't surprise you?
No, especially not in America.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of money knocking around in those churches. I could easily imagine someone thinking, "Oh, this isn't really gonna be missed."
I mean, heck, dude. You have a cynical view of humanity. One I share with you to a degree. But guess what percentage? And I'm not joking when I say it is a huge percentage. Guess which denomination had the highest percentage of like most likely to do it?
Evangelical.
Wrong.
Prosperity.
No.
Nah.
That interested me as well.
They've
No.
got enough money already, innit? They don't need
Yeah.
any.
Did you guys, you know Kenneth Copeland? I was looking this up the other day. Did you know he had a net worth of £780 million? I was like, what? Even Joyce Mayer's only got £8 million.
It's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle.
Yeah, he's already received his reward.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, 74% of all the churches that said they had done it were Methodist. Methodist. Isn't that weird?
My brethren.
I know, my brethren as well, when I was growing up. Gosh, it seems crazy, doesn't it? 74%. Then after that, it was Pentecostal.
Well, at least they're honest about it, because
I know.
I mean, it's quite crazy that amount of people were just like owned up to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like they owned. It's not like they owned up to it. It was an anonymous thing. They just admitted, yeah, I've stolen some. Oh yeah, I know somebody who stole some from my church.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that it doesn't surprise me really that it's Methodists of any other thing.
And you
Not
guys,
to-
I'm really shocked by this. I was shocked that
No,
the
I
first
mean-
thing Ollie says is, "Yeah, it doesn't surprise me," and then you go, "Yeah, I'm not surprised it's Methodist." I'm
No,
like,
I mean,
what?
But I'm shocked that it's that level in the church overall.
Yeah,
But
actually thinking about it, Methodist does make more sense.
What?
But no,
I don't
because I'm thinking like,
understand.
because like it would be. I mean, I'm just speaking from experience of the church, the Methodist churches that I've been to. The liberal theology really doesn't put as much of an emphasis on sin. So, of all of the different types of churches, a Methodist church with a liberal theology would make more sense that they would not be too bothered about stealing from the church.
That I see what you're getting at. They definitely embrace more of a liberal theology. Definitely, that's true. I know there's a huge push for gay marriage in the Methodist Church. Not as much as in the Episcopalian Church in America. I see what you're getting at there. There's another thing as well that came out in this survey, right? So, 1/4 of all the churches asked said that they only had enough money to cover 7 or fewer weeks of church services. 1/4, 1/4.
Sorry, can you say that again? I think I missed some of that.
So 1/4 of the church pastors said they only had enough money to cover 7 or fewer weeks in church, and then they'd have no money left.
Oh, right. What do they have to cover, though?
That's what I was thinking, but the only thing I can think of is cost of the pastor or any other leadership.
Electric bills,
So I was
Yeah,
thinking, just
and
lucky
heating and
bills and
electric
like
and
paying the
stuff.
pastor, innit?
the lease on the building, whatever their arrangement is for where the church is, might be rent. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Again, I'm not massively surprised.
Oh my gosh. This is the just not surprise anybody week. Everybody's listening like, yeah, I knew that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you take your church for example, do you really think they're rolling in it? Like,
Christchurch.
yeah,
I do know they're doing pretty good, but that's because it's mostly a middle class church. Like, if you take the church closest to me back home, they are every single week is a miracle that they can do it the next week, for
Mm.
example. And that's the Methodist Church as well. Christchurch is a bit different, but I don't know. I mean, if a church is rolling, it's a difficult balance, isn't it? Because if a church is rolling in it, then you think something was a bit off, right?
And if they're not, then you think something was a bit off.
Yeah, it's tough. But then again,
I know why Christchurch are doing okay.
go
It's
on.
because they've not squandered all their money on lighting rigs, my friend.
You know what? You know what, Ollie? That is the most sense you've ever made right now. I'm inclined to agree with you. I can't believe you guys aren't shocked by all of this.
I'm not. I'm really not. The more I think about it, the more
The more bored you are.
Well, I think the 90% of all pastors did bother us a bit. Like,
What was it? Sorry, 90%?
No, it was 10%.
Oh.
It was 90.
oh, 10%. Never mind. That is still pretty shocking to me, though.
That was
10%.
Hello?
hello.
Well, yeah, we just cut out big
Oh, yeah.
time there.
What went on there? What
idea.
statistic were we talking about?
Well, we talked about the 10% of pastors said they had embezzled or they knew somebody who embezzled in that church.
Oh, it was specifically pastors. Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then and after that, we did 25% of all churches said that they only had enough money to make it through 7 more weeks.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, sorry for boring you guys. We'll move on.
Yeah, let's crack on, shall we?
All right, this next one is a serious one now. So serious faces. Okay. So Charlotte, not that those ones weren't serious, but Charlottesville, Virginia. Okay, gang.
That sounds serious.
What have you guys heard about Charlottesville, Virginia?
Now.
I heard the name. Didn't hear what went on.
Okay, that's a good start. So it is the name, Charlottesville, Virginia. So basically, stop me if you've heard this before. There was a white nationalist rally.
Oh. This.
I think Ollie's heard
Yeah.
it before.
Yeah, carry on.
White nationalist rally breaks into huge fight on a university campus. 1 woman dead. Eventually, a terrorist incident, which was a car ramming through a bunch of people. The guy has been arrested. It's just a white nationalist guy called James. I can't remember his name now, but he's been arrested. And 19 people injured. 1 woman killed in the car crash. Another woman killed during the fights on the university. Apparently, it was over a proposal to remove the statue of General Robert E. Lee, who fought for the pro-slavery Confederacy during the American Civil War. Somebody wanted to get rid of this statue. There was a white nationalist, but then it was the rally called itself the Unite the Right rally, which was scheduled for the Saturday, but on the Friday night, they all walked through the campus, and then a huge fight broke out between them. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, everybody getting involved. That's basically what happened. And also a police helicopter was tracking the whole thing, and it actually crashed by accident. It crashed into a forest nearby, killing 2 cops. What do you guys
sounds like
think?
a mess.
Goodness.
Yeah,
Goodness me.
huge mess.
I saw something interesting online that I thought was a really good point, that it sort of doesn't make sense to, on one hand, call yourself a proud American and then on the other, call yourself a Nazi.
Yeah.
Considering, we fought the Nazis in World War II and America fought the Nazis in World War II. Just doesn't make a lot of sense.
You're right. What are you thinking?
It's like one of the proudest parts of American history is World War II.
You're right. That is pretty stupid, to be fair. Then again, I'm not sure logic is very high up on these guys' agenda right now.
Yeah. According to SJW's, logic is a tool of the right
Yeah.
to confuse and baffle their opponents.
Yeah,
They
I heard
actually
that.
say that.
No, I don't. It's something to that effect has been said, but like,
Yeah.
it's not a tool to confuse and baffle. I added that bit for embellishment.
That's true. But go on. What's your guys' take? I mean, obviously, this is terrible, awful, in fact, and stupid as well.
I mean, so what was it like? You said it was white. It was
Well,
specifically for white people.
The media called it white supremacist march, white supremacist riot, and all of these things.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't a group. It wasn't like a group of gangs calling themselves a white supremacist. That's just what they've been labeled. I don't really know. Like,
How
no,
did
I
the
don't.
chopper crash? That's what I want to know.
It was just a freak accident, a total freak accident.
It's a funny time to have a freak accident, like, isn't it?
I know, bizarre, totally bizarre. But yeah, but obviously, everyone was criticizing Donald Trump for not speaking against the racism and stuff. He has since spoke about it.
I don't understand that.
Well,
It always happens. It's like something happens, and it's like, oh, Donald Trump hasn't said something in the last 10 minutes regarding this. It's like they need Donald Trump to actually like come out and be like, oh yes, I condemn these actions.
I know.
Otherwise, he is clearly a supporter of white supremacy.
I mean, it's so stupid, isn't it? This, I mean, I don't know. I've seen a lot of good Christians write articles about how Trump does encourage this behavior, not directly, but in some of his rhetoric and stuff. And on the one hand, I do agree, but on the other hand, it's, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think if say example, we look at someone who wants to stop immigration, like a politician that wants to stop immigration.
Yeah.
That isn't necessarily, depending on the way they do it, it's not necessarily encouraging like racist groups, right? But what happens is the opposition, their political opposition, and the media will then accuse them of being racist, and then they have this sort of persona put on them, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
And I think that it's more of an effect caused by that. It's more that actually the way they're demonized encourages racist groups rather than their initial sort of words or actions. I don't think Trump on his own is an encourager of things like that, particularly.
Yeah. I think for sure, absolutely for sure, the way people demonize right-wing people has created a lot of white supremacists. I think absolutely for sure that has. I don't know. I mean, what was your take on it, Jake?
I've just been thinking about how I heard this quote earlier today. I'm not sure if it was by Nixon. It was by a particular president anyway, and he was being questioned on him being endorsed by particular groups that he didn't necessarily agree with, in the same way that Trump is being done so with now, like by white supremacist groups. And he said, like, you've got to understand there's a difference between someone endorsing me and me endorsing someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But it's totally true, though, that Trump is not a respectful or polite guy. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Is it not possible that his brutalness in one way and his brutal honesty could lead people to be a bit more intense?
I think
extreme?
you've got to focus on his intent behind what he says. People misinterpret it. People interpret it in the way that they would want to. On both sides, on the left and the right, they interpret his words the way they want to. And I think without Trump saying it, they would still be racists.
Oh man, you struck a bit of a chord here with me, because I had to put up with this. Like on a video that I made for Gift Ministry, the ISIS and Westboro Baptist Church one.
Yeah.
Like someone I know kind of was saying, but don't you think people could misinterpret this as being hate towards like
Yeah.
Islam?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but I cannot put a disclaimer in to disclaim everything that I don't claim.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
the disclaimer would literally be infinitely long. Like,
Oh,
if-
sorry,
true.
I'm not going to tell the truth because people might misinterpret it as something that's not true.
Yeah, but like not even that. Like you can't. Like if you imagine, there was no point in the video where I mentioned I said anything that was specifically hateful, that was opinionated. Everything that I mentioned was purely facts. So if I was to disclaim every fact that I didn't say, I would literally be there forever. You know.
What you want to say to him as well is, okay, well, you're here on a public forum with an objection to something that I've said. How do you know that your objection might not be misinterpreted by someone else as hate towards me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as that's
You can't control the way people interpret your actions, interpret your words. What you can do is try your best to communicate your ideas in the idiom of the person that you're communicating to, or in a wider idiom, of your target audience. But you don't have any control over the way they ultimately receive those words.
Yeah, exactly. Same story with what we were just talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a really profound point.
And I think the key to that as well. Sorry to cut you. Is
Oh, it's your fault.
when people are listening to Trump,
Yeah.
what you need to ask is when they're trying to sort of derive the meaning from the words that he's saying, are they looking for his intent behind his words? Are they interested in what he means by what he is saying?
That's one thing on the same kind of breath is that I think even if you can argue, hypothetically, if you can argue that Trump's rhetoric does cause this behavior, then you have to argue the exact same thing is true of the people who are very hyperbolic against him. And one thing that really made me chuckle is there's a guy on CNN, he's called Brinkley, can't remember his first name, but he said that 15% of all Trump voters are KKK members and white suit nationalists. Okay, 15%. So according to his estimation, 6.6 million Americans are white supremacists and KKK members.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's close with that?
No, I don't think so.
I think he's pulled that statistic straight out of his jacksie, if you ask me.
White supremacist groups in America are tiny.
Yeah.
As organisations, they're absolutely tiny. Yeah, it's talking rubbish. People throw around these figures and they just never back them up, do they?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, guess how many KKK members there actually are today?
How many?
All right.
8,000.
Yeah.
Okay, which means somewhere out there there's about 6.59 million people.
Unaccounted for.
Yeah, who are thinking it, who maybe they're like, I just wish there was a club for people like me. I don't know what it would be, but where could you not? And it's just ridiculous.
Dare I say, a clan of people like me.
Yeah. Perhaps.
And do you know what? I don't see enough people wearing really pointy hats these days, and I think they should be in fashion.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the pointy hat.
Yeah. I do think Trump should be more in some of the things he says should be more sensitive. However, I think sensitivity today in politics, it compromises truth too much. I think you've got to be prepared to upset people, haven't you? Really?
Yeah.
Especially today. I mean, it's I was watching an interview, almost like a conversation between Milo and Alex Jones.
Oh, I've seen that.
Did you watch it? I quite liked it, and
me too.
They were basically just talking about how. Well, one of the things they touched on was just about you've just got to go out and say it, just be bold. If it sounds really sort of really extreme, then at least people are listening.
Yeah.
Even if they end up hating you. It's like almost a tool that they use is just how bold and extreme they are about what they're saying.
One thing I did like about that is that they highlighted exactly how Alex Jones and Milo, how they both. There are times when they are clearly joking about
Yeah.
stuff, clearly, and then they get taken so seriously.
And then it's edited and everything. Like,
Yeah.
completely, the context is completely distorted.
Yeah, like my favorite one is when Alex Jones said they're turning the frogs gay and stuff like that. Like obviously a joke, but anyway,
Such a good phrase.
it is.
Turning
In
the
his-
frogs gay.
In his voice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're turning the frogs gay.
We will now move on, gentlemen.
Alright.
Are you ready?
I don't know.
We've got-
See, I had a point in my head, but I just totally.
I'm
no,
sorry.
I think it's gone. I think it's gone.
Abort, move on, let's go.
I think it's dead.
I'm sorry, dude. But we have 2 segments left now. So the next segment is, as we all know, Derp of the Week.
Oh, yes.
Are we excited?
I'm buzzing.
Now,
Mate.
there
I'm
are
pretty excited, Rooney. Like,
There are 3 contenders for Derp of the Week this week, so we're going to have a vote. So, our first contender is. Have a guess, first of all. Let's see what you say.
I think Matthew
CNN.
Land on my wedding night. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Naughty that.
Oh, no. That would be funny, though.
we can tweet him and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
CNN.
CNN. No, they're always up there, but not this week.
Yeah.
Get ready for this. So, the first one is. Have you heard of somebody called Lordy? Lord.
Yeah, the band.
Yeah.
I think it's a singer. I don't know if it's a
Oh,
band,
the
actually.
duo.
No.
The duo.
Are you taking the Mickey here, buddy?
No, at first I thought you meant that Scandinavian band
Oh,
that dressed up
yeah.
as demons.
They're just
But-
called Lord, I think. Oh no! Oh no! They. Oh my gosh! What are they called? No, it's
Lordy.
Lordy.
I know of
They're
a
called
particular
Lordy.
trio called
You mean
Lord.
the one that did that cup song thing? That's Lord, isn't it?
What?
No, don't worry. I know who you're talking about.
Lord is the one that did that.
Royals
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
with the cup. Yeah.
I don't know if the cup was involved. We'll drop the cup for now. We can't reach a consensus on the cup. But anyway, Lordy said, this is on, remember we just talked about Charlottesville and the horrific stuff that happened?
Right.
This was a tweet from Lordy. Oh, Lord, I don't know. I don't care. She says, I just want to say, I'm so sorry. All white people are responsible for this system's thrive and fall. We have to do better. I'm sorry.
Of course they are.
This
could
is
she
a
be
point.
wrong?
This is a point I wanted to touch on before. Right.
Oh, here we go.
What stirs more white supremacist thinking, right? In society, is it stuff that Trump says, right, being anti-immigration currently, or is it a society that tries to force white men into being ashamed of being white men?
That's true. Like,
I think you meant, yeah.
More and more, the sort of popular culture is trying to make us just it's the height of hypocrisy, really, when you think about it. For the color of our skin and things that we just can't control, we need to be ashamed of that. And I think that, you know, before you ever point the finger at people like Trump for stuff that they say that could be interpreted in a certain way, I think this is probably one of the things that really needs to be. And if you look at stuff that white supremacists are saying these days, it is things like, well, in American culture, we're being taught to be ashamed of being white men. And
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that.
true.
They're saying that type of thing. And, you know, if there's anything that's giving them a reason to do these rallies, to think the things they think, believe the things they believe, it's the culture that's trying to make them hate themselves for who they are. Not, you know, I'm not saying that I agree with them doing it or anything, but
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, bud. That's my thinking around it a lot as well. That is, whenever you hear them talk, they always say the same thing. Like what they were chanting at Charlottesville was, "We will not be replaced. We will not be replaced." Things like that, because everybody's telling them that they, as white people, because they are white, which is, it is. I mean, think about it. It is racism, isn't it?
yeah,
You're condemning.
we inherit
racism.
guilt.
Yeah. It is distinctly discriminating against somebody for their race.
Yeah, completely.
Nah, you see, the reason it's not though is because
Oh.
racism is racial prejudice plus institutional power,
Okay.
right?
All right. Okay.
So actually, black people can't be racist.
Okay. Well, can you give me some legislation that specifically prohibit or is specifically systematically acting against anybody that's not white? Any legislation anywhere in the
Loads.
West?
Loads
Give me
of
one.
it. Yeah, no, I think it's I think it's ridiculous. I think like it's just when they say racism is racial prejudice plus institutional power, it's to try and just detach yourself from the word racism and not understand that the problem is the racial prejudice part.
What I want to know, if that's the definition of racism, how long has that been the definition of racism for?
Yeah.
If you look in a textbook from 50 years ago, it won't be saying, oh yeah, racism is racial prejudice plus institutional power. What they've done is they've redefined the word to, as you say, detach themselves from it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the word? What's the word for just racial prejudice on its own?
It's racism.
Racism. Yeah.
Racism. Or actually, we'll drop the institutional power thing. Just say racial prejudice on its own. That's what they're being. It's equally as wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the whole point.
Yeah.
I wonder how like one of these SJW types would fare if they were to go to like a different country where white people are being oppressed by a majority, like if they were the minority by a majority,
Start from the
inhabitant
top?
country of a different. Sorry, did I cut out there?
No,
No?
I just explain that again.
All right.
I missed what
I'm
you were
saying
explaining.
I wonder how like an SJW type would fare if they went to a different country where whites are the minority and they're being like oppressed by a say black or like Indian or whatever, like of the race of the indigenous people to that country.
Is there such a place?
Well, I don't know. Is there such a place? But even theoretically, if there was a place like this,
If there was, would we know about it?
They
would
would
we get told about it?
well, yeah. But my point is that like they would still think that white people were being the ones who were racist for complaining about the way they were being treated, though. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? I feel like that when they're detaching themselves from the label of being racist, just because by throwing in institutional power as part of the formula, it seems like even if you switch that so that institutional power isn't even in the formula, they would still say that the white people are being racist.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like the fact that they are just inherently unable to be in danger of being labelled a racist. It's almost like a privilege of some kind, isn't it? Like a black privilege.
Right, yeah.
Well, it's just it is. You're right, but it's totally ridiculous. If you're looking for a country where white people are discriminated against, I would throw out South Africa. There's a lot of white people issues over there.
Right.
But the other thing,
I would say black people are equally discriminated against though over there, aren't they?
yeah, it's a tough situation. But what I would say is as well, just disagree with me or agree with me, it's up to you. I think a lot of this in the heart of it, well, the true heart of it is rebellion, isn't it? And pride. We know that. It's the essence of sin. But what I'm saying is, a lot of this is just people who were bullied in school wanting to get back at the bullies. Do you know what I mean? That's what it feels like.
What's that, sorry?
Like, I think a lot of this is people who were bullied in school wanting to get back at the bullies.
It's another thing that Milo was talking about. There's been studies and things like a lot of the SJWs were just people that were bullied at school, and there's a sort of a disgruntled sort of bitterness about the whole thing.
Well, they have a cultural power, don't they? They have a cultural power these days, and they want to use it to silence and beat up as many people as possible. I mean, it's fascism in every sense of the word, isn't it? Really,
It really
It's
is.
not-
Yeah.
it's ironic and it's ridiculous.
What gets me is that they're a much smaller group than they seem like. You know, if you look online, you would have thought that you couldn't walk down the street without finding one of these people, but they're not. You know, they're not all over the place like we think. And
No.
I've touched on before about the fact that it's the type of view that is rife amongst the sort of media demographics, like the journalists and things like that, and that has a knock-on effect to the way that obviously that's the lens through which we actually look at our own society. So we get a distorted view
Yeah.
of people's wider opinion.
That's totally true. I never could explain it like that, but that is exactly right. It's to the point though, isn't it? Where if you ever see somebody like today, somebody in work came in. It was I don't know. He looked like he was about 15. He came in and he had a jacket, and on his jacket was loads of badges, but one badge in particular was it had like a picture of a duck on it flying. Then it said above, migration is natural, and then underneath it said nobody is illegal. And the thing is, though, think what you want about that. But I was looking at it, and and it was almost like when you see a rare animal at the zoo, you want to take a picture of them and go, look, darling, it's an SJW. Wow, I've never seen one in the wild before.
The thing is, as well, someone needs to tell that guy that we're not ducks.
Yeah, I think we're
Just because it's natural for ducks, I mean, it would also be natural then not to actually have a government and to just sit around like
laying egg.
laying eggs and eating nuts and things or whatever ducks eat. Like,
I mean,
bread.
I could have literally talked to this guy for hours about the badges he had on, but I just couldn't be bothered at that time. And it would have been weird for somebody working there.
That's something that I really don't understand about. Like, I see people doing that a lot, like making a comparison, like, oh, this animal does it,
Yeah.
therefore it must be legitimate for us to do it. It's like
Oh man.
one of the arguments Lawrence Krauss makes is that like there's a tangible percentage, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, of rams that are gay and will only have sex with other rams. I don't understand. Like he used that as a genuine argument that homosexuality is natural.
I mean, look, sharks eat
But
people,
they're rams.
so eating people must be natural.
I don't
Let's
understand.
all eat people.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a ridiculous. The funniest one I've seen is in Adam Ruins. You know the series Adam Ruins Everything.
Yeah.
He recently did one, which is why alpha males don't exist. His whole this isn't a joke. His whole argument is, we thought we observed an alpha male structure in wolves, but it turned out to be false. Therefore, alpha males don't exist in humans. And I was like, that
But
doesn't
there
make
is an
any
alpha male
sense.
structure in wolves.
Well, that's the thing. It's controversial, but the guy who originally observed it has recently said, "Actually, I don't think there is one." That's the difference.
There isn't apes though. There isn't
In
lions.
some apes,
Meerkats.
there is a matriarchal structure in most apes. Anyway,
All right.
a little bit off topic, but the point is,
Oh gosh,
not
yeah,
an
we're supposed to be
argument,
doing
is it?
Tape of the Week.
anyway, let's get back
Crack
to it.
it. Like, goodness me.
So that's the first one, Lord. We've barely even talked about it, but that's Lord anyway. Lord
Right.
blames all white people
yeah.
and says we all have to do better. Anyway, next one. This one's more of a funny one. It tickled me a little bit. So I can't decide if this is Hillary Clinton or Reverend Dr. William S. Shiladi. Okay.
Don't know who that is.
Basically, this is quite funny, right? This is Hillary Clinton. I would say one of the most anti-God candidates for president ever.
I read this, yeah.
Yeah. She said, well, this is what he said about her. Where is it? Oh, yeah. She said to him, Bill, I think I'd like to preach. And then he says in the same interview, he says about 4 times, yeah, she knows the Bible. She knows the Bible really well. Oh, man, she'd make a great preacher, blah, 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 blah. Which really tickled me considering her views on gay marriage and abortion and stuff. And then he goes on in this article, and it is quite funny. He says, I woke up that morning, November 9th, when she lost. And then he said, and it felt like maybe what the apostles experienced on Good Friday.
Oh,
Their
my
leader,
goodness.
master, and savior was dead and gone, and they didn't know what to do.
Well, then he's not
genuinely-
got a very good understanding of the Bible either,
No.
because he wasn't gone.
I think that's definitely.
And they
gonna
knew
be-
exactly what to do because he told them.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the candidate for that one. Like, that's hilarious.
Yes, so you're going on him. It is
Yeah.
funny, isn't it? This guy is a
That's
bit
so
of a
funny.
wally.
What about Trump's pastor or whatever it was that said God had ordained him to what was it? Was it to take out the North Korea or something?
What?
What was
I've
this?
not heard that.
I heard about this.
Yeah, it was literally like, so Trump's got some like evangelical sort of pastoral guy on his team, and he literally came out and said that God had ordained Trump to take out the North Koreans.
Yeah, it was to nuke
Oh,
North
I
Korea.
found it.
basically
found
in
it.
those words. Yeah.
It was Texas megachurch pastor Robert Jeffries. Okay. Yeah, he said God had given the president the moral authority to take out North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Wow, I didn't even know about that.
I don't know. I don't think that's quite on the level of Derp of the Week as what that other guy said. That was funny, man.
Yeah, that's pretty derpy, like.
But anyway, you've got one more, okay? And also,
Right.
this guy in this interview keeps saying Hillary knows the Bible remarkably well. Is his words, remarkably.
Right.
For something to be remarkable, she must know it pretty well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then to have the stances she does in abortion and gay marriage seems, quite frankly, insane.
Does
She
claim
must
to
know
be
it
a
better than
Christian?
me, like.
Yeah. Does she claim to
Anyway.
be a Christian?
Oh man, she claims to be, get ready for this, Jake, a Methodist.
Oh no.
They're having a brutal week this week. Yeah, but she's always claimed that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to send condolence tweets to the Methodist Church.
Sorry for dissing you, and they're like, we're ruined.
Yeah.
We're ruined.
Yeah.
We've had people leaving the congregation.
John Wesley is
Like
turning in
crazy.
his grave.
Anyway, get ready for the last one. This one's a bit of a serious / silly one. Do with that as you will.
Right.
Perhaps you've heard a little company called, Google.
Oh, enough of that.
Google, anyway.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Google, have you heard what they've done? This is funny, by the way. Stupid as well. You heard?
Crack on then.
Come on then, mate.
And I asked if you've heard.
Nah.
You need
Oh.
to tell us what it is
Well, they
first.
do a lot of things, innit, old Google, eh?
Anyway, so an employee at Google recently sent a memo round. Okay.
Oh, yes.
I'm not going to read it to you guys because it's 10 pages long. Right? But basically, he wrote a memo saying, I'll see if I can get the gist. The memo was called Google's Ideological Echo Chamber, was what it called, right? And he encouraged Google employees to take account of their own biases, okay, as a means of reducing the gender gap in tech employment, right? So what he said was, we shouldn't hire women just because they are women. We should look for a different reason to hire them that will be more beneficial to the company, okay? And in this 10-page memo, we basically said women and men are biologically different. Men have certain biological tendencies which enable them to be better at things like maths and science and technology, right? Which is why Google has more men than women. And Google's recent diversity hires are more damaging to the company. And instead, they should try and create more positions that women will be better suited to based around things like emotional needs and stuff within the company, right? That was it. And do you know what?
Good idea, man.
Did you know what
Go for it, mate. Sorry. Hello?
Google did to him?
Hello? They,
Oh,
Hello?
all good? All right, we're back.
yeah. They sacked him.
Yep, sacked him. Okay. I'm trying to find a quote. I wrote it down. Oh yeah, here it is. So the Google CEO Sundar Pichai circulated a company-wide memo saying he has violated Google's code of conduct by advancing harmful gender stereotypes in the workplace.
It's
And
ridiculous.
that's why he was fired.
I've seen like a bit more of what like the memo said, you know, and like he said the first like 2 pages are him just explaining like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't employ women, and like just like setting the scene, setting the tone that like he's not trying to violate the code of conduct as like Google puts it. He's just trying to be as neutral and as like fair-headed and just logical about it as possible. And it's like the stuff that he says is just so right. It's like such good ideas. Like find rules where women have an advantage, where they can genuinely provide like a much better service to the company than men could in the same position. Like, how is that a bad thing? That's obviously an amazing thing to do. And he gets a sack for it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And as well, the first opening lines, okay, of the whole memo are, I value diversity and inclusion, and I'm not denying that sexism exists, and don't endorse using stereotypes. That is the opening line of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, have you seen the way BBC called it anti-diversity memo? CNN called it an anti-woman memo, and things like that. Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, retarded. It's just retarded. There's no better way to put it. That is retarded. It's literally just failed to read the first
I see
line.
stuff like this and think more and more about what you always say, Adam, about how it's a post-truth era.
Yeah.
It's like no one is concerned with what the guy actually meant.
Yeah.
No one's concerned really with what he actually said. Most of the people that read these articles aren't going to know what was in the memo.
Yeah.
And the guy's career's been ruined. Everyone thinks he's a sexist
Yeah.
when he was just trying to do something good for his company.
I know. It sucks, doesn't it, that this guy's lost his job. Gosh. But anyway, there has been quite a funny response to this, which I kind of like. Like one guy put some graffiti outside of the Google headquarters, and they put it over a parking sign, and it said "Gulag parking area." Google. And then the other one is that made me laugh. Is there's a picture of the Apple logo, and then a picture of the Google logo, and the Apple logo's got Apple's not catchphrase but slogan, which is "Think Different." And then on the Google one, it says. Basically, so the middle says "Think Different," and then it says to the Apple one, "Get hired," and the other one it says "Get fired." To Google, like thinking different will get you fired at Google, but hired at Apple.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. Like some of the stuff is really funny, and most people think it's stupid, which I'm happy about.
I've actually got another. Well, I don't know if I want to consider it for Tip of the Week, but you just reminded us about it. I think it was American Airlines. There was two like flight attendants like talking in the little cabin bit, you know, on a plane.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how they think like transgenderism is a bit weird, and how like they wouldn't encourage their kid to be a transgender kid, and you know, all of this type of stuff. And they said how it kind of freaks them out, the idea of like, you know, having a physical sex change, genital mutilation, and all that. And a passenger overheard them and went on to sort of tweet at the airlines, and it's got a lot of traction. And so the American Airlines is now considering taking action against these two people who are having a private conversation in the private room of the plane. And just because someone overheard them and disagreed with the opinions that one of them was saying to another.
That's so stupid.
Isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
When it gets to that point, you're literally...
Thought police, man.
Yeah, it's literally like the public are reporting...
Gestapo.
Yeah, they're reporting to
Inquisition.
the employers what the employees' opinions are, so that they can fire them if they disagree with it.
I mean, it's the same.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the same thing as Google, isn't it, really? You're being fired for an opinion that doesn't coincide with the company's, which is the worst reason to fire somebody ever.
Yeah, what they should have said is, you know, if they don't agree with it, is, well, actually, we don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and left it at that.
I mean, imagine how much better it would have been for Google if or American Airlines, sorry, if they could just said, we disagree with this guy, but we have him because we value diversity of thought. That would have made them look like heroes, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So stupid. But one last comment about this Google thing, by the way, sorry. Basically, two quick facts. Basically, he's going to sue Google, which is, you know, fair enough.
Right.
Because in the state of California, it's illegal to fire somebody for political views. And
got him.
And he's been offered a job by Julian Assange.
Oh, right.
From WikiLeaks, who tweeted him saying, "Would you like a job? Censorship is for losers."
Ah, what a top lad.
I know.
That's legal. Anyway,
it's time to vote, gang.
Well, I was thinking as well. I don't know if it was this week. What about the thing about the school board in Australia? Banning children from talking about Jesus on the playground.
Gosh,
I forgot to put that in.
And giving out Christmas cards as well.
I forgot to put that in. Oh,
what
man.
a selection we've got this week, boys.
There's been some pretty heavy derpage this week. Like,
This is nuclear derpage right now.
Derp doors vibrating
living
out of
in-
its fixtures at this point.
I know.
Did we? This one certainly wasn't this week as well, but we could also talk about the Netanyahu. Netanyahu stops prearranged fist fight between Israeli
yeah.
politician and Jordanian MP.
Oh gosh, the derp scale is off the
I know.
chain right now.
I mean that was an article I sent that one to you guys on the 3rd of August, so
yeah.
that was a little while ago. That
Oh
one.
yeah.
Oh gosh, I think we need to narrow it down. What are our options?
All right, I'm trying to remember them all. Let me go. So.
Totally forgotten the first one.
I know. Give me a sec.
Hillary Clinton won it, the first one.
So I've got them here now. So this isn't in any particular order. So the first one is Google, eh? By the way,
Right.
off the back of that, I've now stopped using Google products.
Have you
and
really?
Google search. Yeah, for real. Anyway, irrelevant. But
Yeah.
so the first one is Google. Second one is Reverend Dr. William S. Shiladi.
Yeah.
Third one is Lord, or Lordy, whatever. Then it's American Airlines. Then it's Australia. Gosh, this is nuclear derp out right now.
I think my vote has to go to Shaladi. Like,
Shiladi, really.
yeah, I think that's just too funny.
Which one was the Shaladi one?
Saying Hillary Clinton knew the Bible remarkably and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty retarded. Like,
What was the thing? It wasn't just that though. He did something else, didn't he?
Forgot.
described her as being a Jesus figure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He said
Felt like
it
the
was like,
disciples on Good Friday.
yeah, when she lost. That was so stupid.
Yeah, he's got my vote. Like, what a
Yeah,
dick.
I could get down with that one. I do think the Australia thing was mightily derpy as well.
Yeah. Special commendations to Australia for that crap. Like,
Yeah, the Australian government gets a half derp, we'll call it.
Yeah. Well, here's what I was thinking.
oh, dude.
Australia correct me if I'm wrong. They've not gone through with it, but it's a plan. I can't remember exactly.
So I think they've at the moment they've basically banned it, and then they're coming together to review it again.
Oh gosh.
To basically look at whether or not it should be done, any sort of practical implications of it.
I mean, to me, that wins Derp of the Year, if I'm being honest. I think partly because it's kids, and that just upsets
It's damaging, isn't it? It's damaging to. It's just so mental. A completely peaceful worldview.
I mean,
Gosh.
that just makes me angry. Gosh, that's really made me upset. Anyway,
All right.
but
so who's
I
the
don't
winner?
I don't have a dog in this fight, so it's up to you guys to vote. Jake, you're saying Dr. Reverend William S. Shiladi, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Well, if
Hey,
you've got
Ollie,
an
wait.
impasse, if Ollie's voting for Australia,
I would
then you'll have to be the decider.
Yeah, I'd swing towards the Australian government, to be honest. Like,
Gosh, I would have to. I mean,
Dun, 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 dun.
this is the hardest decision I've ever had to make. I would say that. See, the way I'm thinking about it, Dr. William S. Shiladi, that is a silly derp. Do you know what I mean?
It's a big
But
time
the
deal. Like.
Australian one is a serious derp.
Right, yeah.
So I don't really know. So I would say, in terms of actual fallout of derpness and casualties, the Australian one is larger. But for sure, the William S. Shiladi one is stupider. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go with Australia on this one, boys.
You're a derp of the week.
Congratulations.
we need a derp theme tune.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, had
Oh,
one.
yeah, we
Derp,
did have
derp.
one.
We had one, dude.
Oh, man.
But
that's
Adam
so-
keeps forgetting to get his iPad.
I'm so sorry. Give me one sec.
It sounds classic.
Yeah, we'll edit it into the.
Well, Adam can edit it in because he's doing this one.
What, are you recording this?
Yeah, I'm recording it. But I'm going to send it across to him.
Oh, okay. I still need to send you my episode as well.
Oh, nah, fam. When's that getting up? That's going to be getting up after this one. Might as well leave it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm putting this one up as episode 5 anyways. We're up to.
What did we talk about in the one that I've got?
No idea, mate.
Was that the one that where Will was in the episode?
There it is. Fantastic.
Do it. Play it again.
Oh, I've dropped my phone. I love it.
Congratulations, Australian government. You have won our Derp of the Week. You'll be receiving your cone hat in the mail and your certificate, and you'll be remembered throughout the annals of time as a Derp. We salute you, Australia.
Wonderful.
Now, are you guys ready?
Yes.
We're going to move on to our newest segment. We're going to go into the debate-a-thon.
Oh yes. I forgot about this.
I'm going to be so bad at this, man.
Get ready, okay?
Right. Come
Yeah.
on.
We need a
just-
theme tune for this, to be fair, as well.
Oh, man. I have no idea. What do you think would be a good theme tune,
I
gang?
don't know. I think we can pass on this on a debate for this one. Like,
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's the rules. They get given a random topic, which is in this random selection of random topics that I've got before myself. I shall select the topic, tell them the topic, and then flip. Whoever votes on the heads, and if it's heads or whatever, whoever corrects the guess, whoever gets the right coin toss, they will be debating for the topic. Whoever guesses wrong will be debating against the topic. They each get 2 minutes for an opening statement and then 2 minutes for a rebuttal. Then they have 4 minutes for open question time between me and themselves. And then finally, they do a 20-second ending statement before I vote on the winner. So, gang, let me just get this timer ready.
I'm going to hate this.
I'm sure you'll be fine. You can each get a minute or so just to think over what you could say.
All right.
Okay. So, by the way, in here, there's some totally ridiculous topics in here, some totally serious ones, and we can see how we feel about it. And maybe, the topic's just wrong. Oh, man. I don't think we should do this one.
What is it?
It's a very, very tough one.
What is it? Abortion.
No. It's Britain should bring back the death penalty.
Oh,
I'm
do you
game
guys
to debate
thinking?
it.
I'm just. I'm gonna suck at this. I'm so nervous to do this.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because now I'm gonna make a fool of myself, man. Oh
Why?
man, because I just don't think about all this stuff.
Let's look for a silly one.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
start with. You'll surprise yourself. You will surprise yourself.
Yeah, I felt like that as well. I was quite shocked.
I don't think I'm in the state of mind to be critically thinking. I'll give it a
Okay.
go. Like,
This one, the other possible debating topic is 30% of Britain's GDP should go directly on trying to make giraffes more portable.
right, right.
What do we think?
How do we debate that one? Pick another one. Pick another one.
Nah, I'm down for that one. Let's go with that one.
All right. Who's debating for and who's debating again?
Flip the coin, bud. Heads.
We've got another one if you're interested, I've just pulled from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hedgehogs should be utilized as military weapons.
I'm so down for that as well.
Mate, you should have heard some of the
Oh,
stuff
man.
we were debating, man.
What do you think? Do you want to debate that one?
I'm the giraffe one, me.
All
What do
right,
you-
we'll go for giraffes.
Okay. So, heads or tails? Who wants heads? Who wants tails?
Jake called heads.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. So, Jake, if it is heads, you have to debate for it, okay? For the statement.
Okay. Do I not get to choose if I win?
No.
No, you
Oh.
have to debate for it. And if it's tails, Ollie has to debate for it,
That's fair.
okay? It is tails.
Oh,
Ollie, you have to argue that 30% of our GDP should go directly on trying to make giraffes more portable.
Okay, right. Opening statement starting from now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going straight in. All right.
Yeah. We don't get no preparation time.
Okay.
Or anything, mate.
Okay.
I'll tell you when there's 5 seconds left, okay?
Okay.
Go.
Right. So, animals more and more these days are getting endangered. They have to be transported to sort of their captive environments so that we can protect them, maybe nurture them and get their ancestors back out into the wild. Giraffes are really big animals. I don't know if you've ever seen a giraffe next to something like a rhino or or something to give it a size reference, but they are huge things. They're massive. And I think people being able to see these animals, having them readily available from all over the place, it raises awareness that we need to protect them, protect their environments. We need to nurture them. So being able to transport them is something that would be incredibly beneficial, I think, to the species and actually to other species as well, not just giraffes. The technology is something that would end up probably being applicable to other species as well. That I would say is the first thing. It's hard really to think of much of a statement when I don't know what any of your rebuttals are going to be. What was it? Was it that it would need to be government funded or
30% of our GDP would go.
definitely? Definitely, and it comes back to the NASA point as well. That I think the amount of technologies that would be invented during this process is something that would be incredibly beneficial. I'm not sure what more I could say. At this point. I'll end my opening statement.
Okay, do you want to know how much time you had left?
How much? A lot.
5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, well done.
All right.
Jake, are you ready?
Right. Yeah. Let's begin. Right.
Okay, begin.
Well, I mean, the first point is that I could understand if there was any kind of practical use for a portable giraffe, but the fact of the matter is, I don't see anything that we're going to be able to do with a giraffe that we can't do with just literally anything else, right? So, like, I've got a few questions that I think need to be addressed here. Like, why so much money? Surely there are better things to be spending like 30% of the GDP on than portability improvements to a giraffe. I mean, who would you like to kind of front this kind of development? And similarly, what kind of improvements could you make to a giraffe to make it more portable? If you've got any kind of ideas, I'm sure that would be really appreciated. Yeah, just why so much money? Who's going to do it? And how are you going to do it?
Okay.
That's pretty much the lot.
You calling it, Jake?
Yeah.
That is, you had 52 seconds left.
Okay, so first off, why so much money? Because it's difficult, mate. Secondly, what was it? Oh yeah, have you ever actually tried to move a giraffe?
No.
It's a very necessary thing if we want to be moving giraffes efficiently for us to make it easier to move giraffes. Who's going to front it? Well, we mentioned the whole NASA thing. Everyone thinks NASA's a waste of money, and there's a laundry list of things that have been invented because of NASA's endeavours. I think NASA should be in charge of it. We could even then put giraffes on the moon once they're more portable. Do you know how awesome that would be?
Hang on, could I interrupt for 1 sec? Is this like a time where I could like? Is this a conversational time?
2 minute rebuttals. 2 minute rebuttals.
Okay. Do we get a time at the end where we can just converse for a bit?
There's Q&As where
Right,
Adam will
sick.
ask questions and stuff. So I mean that someone like NASA heading it up could only be a benefit. 30% of the GDP, I think it would certainly be returned. The amount of people that would pay to see giraffes and would have them accessible to them because they'll be on the move all the time. All of these giraffes everywhere. Giraffes are big animals. Why giraffes and not other things, other uses? Giraffes are very useful animals as well. We could use giraffes to just naturally trim tall trees.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're entertaining. They're fast animals. We could use them in sport. Giraffe racing, for example. I think I've proved my point at this point. So, yeah,
Right,
that's
yeah.
my rebuttal.
You're never going to believe this, Ollie. You had 5 seconds left again.
Really?
Yeah, that is so bizarre. Anyway, Jake, you have now a 2-minute rebuttal, and then we'll have 4 minutes of open discussion / question time, okay?
Right, wonderful.
Your time starts now.
Right. Okay, look, mate. I understand that it's an expensive endeavor, right? But I absolutely do not agree that it's going to make a return on 30% of the GDP from
Then
the
you clearly
entire.
don't understand.
Don't interrupt me, please. I mean, 30% of the UK GDP is not going to return from a tree trimming initiative, right? That is literally. That is the only practical use you have for a mobilized giraffe. It's to use as a tree trimmer when you could just as easily buy, and far cheaper to maintain, a ladder and an actual tree trimmer, right? You just don't need giraffes for this. Plus, they only eat very specific types of trees that only grow in Africa. So unless you're trying to mobilize them to other parts of Africa, which they already are, there's no point in trying to get them to be more mobile than they currently are. They're not going to survive anywhere else. There's no use for them. There's nowhere for you to go with them. Just leave them where they are. That's it.
All righty. Jake, you had 40 seconds left. So we now move into 4 minutes of opening, and I've got a few questions for you guys, okay? Your 4 minutes begins now. First off, Ollie. So 30% of the GDP as of 2017 would be 632,466,000,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. And you think that should go directly on giraffes?
Yeah.
Can you give us...
Why do you need that much money, fam?
To make sure it's successful.
Doesn't
There might be
really-
some left over that we could then use on other things.
Oh, okay.
But for now, I just think the draft should have it.
Right, what kind of improvements are you planning on making to the giraffes?
I don't know. We'll let NASA deal with that.
Right, yeah. Also, what does NASA stand for?
North Atlantic Space Agency.
So nothing to do with giraffes then?
You don't know where giraffes are from.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, yeah.
Jake,
They're from the North Atlantic, mate.
Jake. I've got a question for you, Jake, okay? I think you're underestimating how useful giraffes as tree
Bollocks, mate!
giraffes would be in our society, right? You said they only eat certain types of trees, okay?
Yeah, I was going to say, can you back that up?
I'm pretty sure we can feed giraffes just fine on our trees in zoos and stuff, yeah? We're not bringing over trees from Africa or whatever, are we here, buddy?
Yes,
I think...
What, are trees that don't grow in our climate, mate?
Yeah.
Right.
Also, we have a much better climate for trees than Africa does. So if something can grow in Africa, it's easily going to be able to grow over here. Easily.
I don't think that's how it works.
No, like if they can, like we have so much water and the soil is so much healthier than in Africa that a general rule of thumb is our plants couldn't grow over there, but theirs could grow over here.
No,
Nah,
that's right.
doesn't work like that.
No,
Okay.
because they get too much water, innit?
Why don't we
mean-
have banana plants everywhere?
Because that's different, though.
Right.
Oh,
Anyway.
Minced.
So you're saying they only eat certain types of trees, therefore they couldn't be utilized as tree surgeons. Is it not true that they don't have to eat the trees whilst they are moving the leaves off of them?
Yeah, but how are you going to get them to
train
do
them.
that?
We train them.
You might as well get a mechanical, like, giraffe head and just snip them off yourself.
I like the
Well,
way you
that-
think, you know. You should apply to work for NASA.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if NASA had a mechanical giraffe head division
I would
Yeah.
be
right
like,
next. All right.
I think
Do you
the
guys
point
have
that
any
I'm,
more questions?
no, I just want to say the point that I'm making is you couldn't for the amount of work that you would have to put in to get a giraffe to cut your trees, right? You'd just be far rather just getting a ladder and doing it yourself.
Wrong.
All right.
What I think it comes down to, though, is this, right? Ollie, you and Jake fundamentally and philosophically disagree on the importance of animals in society, right?
I would
don't
like to
think
say
so.
I'm actually surprised. I think we found a lot of middle ground.
Right. But what I mean is, your argument was that 632 billion pounds should be spent on preserving animals, right?
Yes.
And Jake's argument is that that's too much. Preserve an animal.
Mm.
Oh, hang on. For preserving animals.
Yeah, like Ollie's main argument was that we can use this technology to better help animals that need to be transported out of countries because giraffes are so big. If we can move the toughest thing, then it'd be more logically make sense that we can move smaller things as well.
Here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I want to mention, right? To do all of this testing on the giraffes, you're going to have to transport them from Africa to the UK anyway.
Yeah,
So
but in the
where's
future,
the issue with mobility if you can do all of that anyway?
Well, since the UK, I never mentioned the UK.
Oh, so you've got to transport them even farther to the US.
No, you need to get them to NASA. Yeah, in Florida, in the US.
Yeah, man.
The NASA division.
You've got to transport them to begin with so that you can work on how to transport them. Don't be so daft.
Gang. Time for your 20-second closing statements, all right?
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
All right, go on then, Ollie.
Okay. I mean, I'll go easy on this one because Jake has clearly been wrecked anyway. I think a goal
10
needs
seconds.
to be set. Oh,
He
yeah,
does
it's
have 10
20-second
seconds.
one. Huh?
You do have, you've got 3 seconds.
Oh.
Okay, you time.
It's all right. I've wrecked you anyway. Like.
That's fantastic.
All right, Jake.
You just literally groaned for the last 3 seconds. Oh. Right.
All right,
turn.
Jake. You've got 20 seconds starting from now.
Right, well, I think I've made the case pretty clear that there's literally no reason to, no need to, and definitely no need to take that much money to do it. And I think that's pretty much everything. Like, there's just nothing that says that we should actually try and make camels more mobile.
Okay, 20 seconds exactly.
Camels.
Oh, excuse me, giraffes.
I see you're wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Game over.
Oh, man. All right, gang. This was a tough one. And I'm not joking. It was.
Ollie
Because
groaned
I'm
for his
not-
entire ended statement.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. That bit nearly threw me off, right?
It wasn't strong. It wasn't the strongest part of the debate.
In all his opening statement, right, he nearly had me, okay? Because his argument was actually really, really good. That animals are endangered and they have to be transported, that giraffes are big animals, and seeing these animals creates an awareness that they should be protected, transporting them will be beneficial. That was actually a really, really good argument, I thought. It started to break, but I just didn't feel like he could justify the 30% figure.
Do you know what was funny? When it got onto where they were going to be transported, I was hoping that someone would say, "Hang on, whose GDP are we talking about?" So I could just turn around and be like, "Oh no, I meant global GDP."
Unreal.
That would be so funny. But Jake, Your argument seemed to be entirely contingent.
Fallacious.
Yeah, on the fallacies in Ollie's argument. You didn't make much of a case that it shouldn't be done. You just poked holes in Ollie's argument.
Yeah, because I was the one saying that it shouldn't be done, right? Like I'm supporting the negative case. Hello.
I'm making the truth.
30%. And you know, hello?
Is it just me that keeps going silent for
No,
every now and
yeah, it
again?
just cut off for
No,
me
that-
there as well.
Yeah,
All right.
it did for me as well.
Yeah, I was saying
Anyway.
I'm not the one. I'm just defending the negative.
Yeah, I'm
case,
making a
right?
truth claim, so all you need to do is
Yeah, you're right.
all you need to do is poke holes.
Forgive me. But anyway, I don't know. I felt like Jake's end argument was stronger.
Do you reckon?
But Ollie's opening statement was stronger.
Should we do another one?
Yeah, I'd love to do another one. We have a time for one more. You guys want to do it?
Yeah, pick another one out and we'll see what
Oh,
it is.
let me moderate this one. I can't do another one of those.
All right.
Jake, you were pretty good, you know, man. I was really into that.
It was fun, like.
All right, I'll pick another one out of the magic hat. This one would have been funnier when we were down visiting you, Ollie. It's not as funny now. Basically, this one is March. The town of March is the worst place on earth.
Oh my gosh.
This,
Right, I'll moderate this one.
What do you think, Ollie? Do you want me to pick another one out?
listeners, it wouldn't mean much for listeners,
Yeah.
would it?
That's true.
That's true.
Oh man. This next one is the Scouts is actually really lame. It's one of them.
Okay, I'm game.
And the
Why
last
is
one,
You can tell you were getting tired towards the end of writing these. Like,
yeah.
the Scouts
The
is
last-
actually really lame.
And the last one is that hedgehogs should be utilized as military weapons.
I think you should do that one.
Just because I want to see it done.
I don't know. I like ones that can actually be argued slightly, like
Yeah.
not too far out. Like funny ones that can actually be argued. Like the best one that we did was the flip flop should be banned one. That one
Yeah.
was really good.
That one was good. Trying to remember, there was one in here that was so just totally over the top and stupid, and I could tell I was really tired. Oh, here it is. Dragons existed 2,000 years ago, but spoke modern day Chinese. that would be a tough one to argue.
That sounds pretty legit.
Anyway, are we doing the Scouts is really lame, or hedgehogs should be utilized as military weapons? I can do Scouts, you know.
I think the Scouts would be a good one to do. Yeah.
Oh, this is a tough one. I really hope I'm arguing
Hang
for
on,
this.
I'll flip the coin here. Actually, no, I don't have
Oh.
it. Never mind.
I hope I've got to argue that Scouts is lame.
Do you want heads or tails, Ollie?
I'll go headeroonies.
Oh, Matthew's gonna flip it.
Oh yeah, do it.
Go on, mate. It's tails. All right, so I guess that's
I'm arguing for the statement.
yeah.
Scout. Oh man. Does somebody else want? Jake, is there a way you can keep time for 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'll do that. 2 seconds till I get the clock up.
Oh, this
All right.
is really tough. I wanted to argue that it wasn't. Oh well.
All right, so do we have some? Do you need some time to prepare, Adam? Or should we jump right in?
You know what? I think I'll just start speaking, and hopefully the words will catch up.
All right, bud. Your 2-minute opening statement starts now.
All right. So here's why the Scouts is actually really, really lame. Okay. I'm going to make this plain and simple. Okay. Number one, knots in day-to-day life are completely irrelevant these days. We have smartphones now. Okay. Number two, okay, I was in Cubs for a while, and it was incredibly lame and boring. It mostly involved sitting in a church floor, a cold church floor, right, and watching people throw bean bags. Okay, and then I left, and I have no reason to doubt that that is the majority of people's experience in Scouts. Okay. Number 3, it's founded on a fundamentally flawed ideology. It's founded on the idea that kids would enjoy being outside when we really know that deep down that is not true. Kids thrive on video games, which is why we should have made a scouting video game, but nobody would have bought it because it was lame. True or false? I think we can agree that that's true. Okay? Scouts must be lame because there's never been a film made about the Scouts. And we know that films are made about exciting topics. There's one for you. Another reason why Scout is lame is because it fosters anger and hatred amongst young people. Okay? Do you remember when they brought in the rule that women could be Scouts? That was damaging to both sexes across the gender spectrum. Okay? And another reason why it's lame is that everybody who's ever been an important member of a scouting team has never shut up about it, right? I've known many people who are in Scouts, okay? And their lives revolved around Scouts easily for the first 20 years of their life, okay? They're always telling me about it. And you could argue that, oh, well, they must be going on about it because it was fun or because it was great. But I'm thinking, think of the children or the adults who have to be in that room listening, right, during this period of time. Okay, what this person is actually doing is punishing them.
Sorry, mate.
Gosh,
Time.
that was actually really hard. I had no idea what I was doing. I was
Made a lot
just
of good
talking.
points there, bud.
Shut
you,
up,
man.
Jake.
All right, Ollie. Don't worry, I'll compliment you equally. Yeah, right.
All right,
Your
first
2
off.
minutes starts now.
All right, so first off, I would say I'm a Scout.
Oh gosh.
And actually, I'm not gonna make this a rebuttal, so I'm gonna keep this as an opening statement. Throughout Scouts, you learn a lot of skills, teamwork skills. The most important of which I would say are skills that are transferable. How to work as a team. I've seen in Scouts young children that have got a natural talent for leadership be able to nurture their leadership skills and have them flourish. I've seen children that have been really good at learning things, really skilled in certain areas, but been really not confident in themselves, grow to become to end up being in leadership roles in the Scout movement. I've always just valued the fact that I'm reliable at reading a map, which a lot of people my age can't particularly do, and it's been very useful for me at times, even to the point of playing video games where map reading is required. I was always sick at it. What else? Knots. I love knots, and I would say not as a rebuttal to your point about knots, but I would say knots. Being able to tie knots is something that you really value only when you can actually do it. There's so many applications for tying knots. There's so many instances where I fixed something because of a specific knot that I can tie, or I can use knots in first aid scenarios. Lots of different types of knots. So there's that. Pioneering. I mean, there's a wealth of different skills. Pioneering, rifle shooting.
All right.
Okie dokie.
Got a nice old case there, bud. So what is it next? 2 minutes? It's 2
2-minute
minutes
rebuttal
each.
for me.
All right. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Now, here's the thing, Ollie. I think in your opening statement, you have handed me this debate. And let me explain why. So you admitted that you were a Scout. So we can reason that you were emotionally compromised to sound reasoning on this issue. You're blinded by your nostalgia, and clearly from your argument, you're not making much sense. Okay? You argued that children young learn skills, and that you notice that some young children have a natural talent for leadership. Well, I got a newsflash for you, right? This is the millennial era. This is the post-truth era. This is the selfie era. Okay, leadership is dead. Everything is behind a smartphone now. You're gonna need to grow up. Okay. Second thing, you spoke a lot about children. Okay, you talked about how you'd seen a lot of children develop and blah blah blah. Another news flash for you: children are dumb. In general, they are not. They are not clever. Their IQ is not as high as adults, therefore they are not as reliable as an adult, such as myself, for providing you with sound reasoning for why Scouts is dumb. Thirdly, you said that Scouts made you reliable at reading a map. Now, I got news flash for you, bud. It's called Google Maps. Nobody needs to be good at that anymore. We have Google Maps, okay? So, and the last thing I was thinking about is you said about nuts. You provided a lot of anecdotal evidence. Okay, you provided a lot of anecdotal evidence that nuts are good in your own life. Well, here's the thing. You never ever hear about a ship of people not sinking because some brave man made a knot, or a plane was going to go down because a man ran to the back of the plane and quickly made a knot tying the engine back to the plane, do you? That's the thing. Knots are maybe very good in your... What?
10.
10 seconds?
Yes, mate. 5.
Scouts is lame, bud.
Right.
Okay, all right, let me go. I'm going to try and remember all of the points you made. One thing that I would say that was a fatal flaw with your argument is that you reasoned why we don't need Scouts by talking about how it's the post-truth era, leadership is dead, children are dumb, and all of this. Children don't need to map read because they rely on their smartphones. That just shows that your perspective is wrong, and that perspective, that paradigm that we're in, has caused leadership to die, has caused children to be dumb because they don't know how to read a map. They've never needed to be self-reliant and to have leadership amongst themselves, and that's exactly the thing that Scouts is useful for fixing. And I would say as well, it is a lot of anecdotal evidence because unfortunately you can't prove the usefulness of Scouts on a scientific basis. You can on a historical basis. There's plenty of stories about Scouts that have acted in sort of really brave sort of situations of valor in the First and Second World Wars. Map reading. I'm out of data currently, so I can't use Google Maps, but I can read a map. So that's pretty useful. And again, I would stress the knots thing. Like when I was in Borneo, for example, I fixed loads of things that were broken around the camp just because I knew a lot of different knots. Yeah, I mean, that's just one example. My phone fell down the back of the radiator the other day, and I managed to get it because I knew a knot for it. If I ever go horse riding, I know a really sick knot for tying my horse up that I don't have. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So now, do we have 2 minutes or 5 minutes for the...
4 minutes.
4 minutes, all right. All right. I'd like to begin by first asking Adam to define the word lame.
Oh, man. What a good question, bud. Lame, as I understand it, means uncool, pointless, stupid, not culturally relevant.
Okay. So then, it seems like this perspective, it seems like the question might be asked from the perspective of a child. Or sorry, the statement might be made from the perspective of a child. Saying that Scouts is actually really lame. Seems like something that a child would say, and yet you say that children are stupid, and so your opinion about whether something is lame is more valid than a child's opinion.
For sure, and the reason why that is, mate, and Ollie kind of touched upon this when he said that smartphones have made kids dumb. And I shouldn't be doing this, but it's a semi-rebut to that and an answer to your question. Children have always been dumb, Jake, okay? Because their brains aren't fully developed, okay? And they are proper thick sometimes. Kids, I work with kids. They say stupid stuff sometimes. I'm not going to lie, okay? Really stupid stuff. And I would concede that me as an adult with a bigger brain, when I say it, it's totally cool. But when they say it, it's lame.
Right.
Are you picking up what I'm throwing down?
So you said it's culturally irrelevant,
Yeah, for sure.
but like Ollie says, it seems like there are some practical uses. Like leadership is still necessary in the world today. Map reading is still useful for when your phone's out of data.
Here's where you're wrong, buddy.
Right.
Only a silly sausage would let their phone run out of data. Okay, first
Let's
thing.
see.
Second thing, you can download. I can't remember if it's Google Maps or Apple Maps, but you can download map areas for places so you can access them without data. Okay, first thing. So, second thing is,
You'll still have to learn how to read a map then, though, won't you?
are you insane? Absolutely not. Okay, reading a map is a dead sport. Nobody does it.
All right, I'm gonna have to cut you off there. Ollie,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
can you perhaps go into some more detail on why you think it is culturally irrelevant? Because as you know, Adam says,
Well, there's a need
so
for
don't
it.
need the map.
Adam actually in his rebuttal illustrated a need for scouting rather than its irrelevance. By talking about how children are dumb, you know, I've seen so many times in scouts, children come in and they've got no common sense whatsoever. And they learn a bit of common sense because for the first time in their life they're in a situation where they've got to rely on their own common sense, and it's a practical hands-on thing, and their mistakes have a knock-on effect. Say when we go on summer camp, their mistakes have a knock-on effect on how they are going to live for the rest of that week. We had a kid who left his tent open in the middle of a thunderstorm and his bag was right in the doorway. All of his clothes got soaked. Not my problem. I didn't close his tent because it's his fault. And he learned a good lesson. He never did it again. You know, there's lots of instances like that. Cooking, they do their own cooking when we go on camp. If you know, if there's issues with the amounts of food we've got compared to people and stuff, they have to solve those sorts of problems. The cleaning, everything like that. A lot of them have never done it for themselves. So it's relevant. There is a need for it, as Adam has actually illustrated. Map
That
reading.
is time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's it, right? That's the end.
Closing
Oh, we
statements.
have closing statements.
Yes. Closing statements. You get, 20 seconds? We'll begin with Ollie this one, I think. Ollie?
Okay. So I feel like Adam has actually completely illustrated for me that there is a societal need for things like scouts, the teamwork, the sort of practical problem solving that takes place. Not to mention all of the skills as well, not to mention all of the experiences that children have rather than being cooped up indoors. They get to go outside and experience. Yeah, there we go.
Adam, your 20 seconds begins now.
Societal need doesn't equal societal relevance. Just because there is a need for something in society doesn't mean that it's not lame or culturally perceived as lame. And I think I've done a very good job of explaining why, in fact, Scouts is indeed lame.
All right. This is a really tough one, you know.
I know, I was really, really good, wasn't I?
You both made a really good case. I want to say, though, Adam, you go a bit Trumpish when you start debating, like.
What do you mean?
you start going like, okay. Like all that business.
Sorry about that.
No, it's funny. It makes it more funny.
I think it's because I was so disagreed with what I was saying as I was saying it.
Right. Yeah.
I had to say okay just to motivate myself to keep moving, I think.
Perhaps that's some insight into Trump's actual political views. He doesn't really agree with what he's saying.
He's in a
That's
perpetual game of this.
So I think what it comes down to is the definition of lame that Adam provided and how well the Scouts meets that criteria according to the way that Ollie provides, or how badly it meets that criteria. And I've got to say that I think Ollie has to take this one by providing that it is still culturally relevant.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Ollie.
No,
That was a good one. That was a good one. I think that would be a good clip just to put up for people to I mean,
man. Well, that's a
that
good
was-
job.
We should do them as a separate clip. So Derp of the week and debate of the week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was so funny. That.
All right. I think we're gonna have to end it right about here, boys. If that's all right.
Yeah.
Naughty.
Shall we do the sign off?
Yeah.
Excelente. All right. If you're watching in from the future, tell us how it is there. And also, it's great for you to join us. And also, thank you guys for coming and speaking to me today. And we'll be doing it same place, same time next week. Maybe a different place, maybe a different time. Who knows at this point? You can follow us on our social media accounts to keep us updated and for us to keep you updated. Thank you for listening and stay in touch. And God bless. Good night and good evening.
Laters.
Yes, he is.